Okay.
All right.
Hi.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for seeing me.
So how are you doing today?
You know, a little bit better. I haven't been drinking for like a month, so that's really nice.
Oh, that's great.
But it's hard. It's been a hard month, and I just haven't been feeling that great in general. Probably the last the last 10 years, actually, I haven't been feeling great. So, I came here because a lot of my friends told me about it, and, I've been, off and on homeless for the last year. I used to come here, a while ago, but I decided that, actually I didn't decide, I got really drunk one day and switched who my payee was, and then I totally fucked up because when I transferred my payee, they just gave me all my money. And I just moved into a new apartment, some senior housing down in Kent, Shea. I don't know if you've heard of it. But I started drinking really heavily, and they asked me to leave. And so the day they asked me to leave, I stopped drinking, of course. The day they told me to go. And I've been staying at the shelter, your guys' shelter, ever since. But, 35, maybe 40 days sober now. I had one day that I messed up, but, my chemical dependency person says that's not a big deal. But, I don't feel great about it, but it is what it is. And I've been good since then.
That's really great. I mean, it sounds like you are doing, something's working for you right now.
Yeah.
Would you say, is there anything, what would you say that, if you're doing well with your drinking right now, what would you say your main concern is today? Why you wanted to come?
I'm just scared to death I'm going to start drinking again. And a while ago, one of my case managers talked to me about, she said I'm really suicidal when I drink, and I don't always remember that. But I know I don't always feel that great when I'm not drinking either. And I know antidepressants and stuff helped me in the past. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking about getting back on them, but at the same time, I've come to really learn to love sobriety and my sobriety and Jesus, of course, because he laid his hands on me, and so, I've been able to stay strong because of that.
Okay. And how long has it been since you were on your antidepressants?
Oh, gosh. They took me off of them. Actually, I took myself off of them 2 years ago when I went back to drinking more heavily. I was still drinking before that, but when I started drinking even heavier, I just never remembered to take them, and I just stopped picking them up. Mm-hmm. So I haven't been on them for 2 years.
Okay.
I spent some time in the hospital, too. And they don't like me riding my motorized wheelchair out into the traffic.
Oh, okay. Not a good idea.
No, apparently not. They jumped me, 5 cops jumped me, knocked my cell phone out of my hand. Jeez. And then they left my motor chair, and then they went back and got it, so it's fine, I've got it now.
Okay, and so you were in the hospital because you went out into traffic in your motorized
Yeah, because I kind of wanted to kill myself, so I rode it into traffic thinking that would be a good way to do it. Okay. So I've been hospitalized 2 or 3 times this last year.
For suicide attempts?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get to the point when I'm drinking, I start remembering things, and it gets really hard, and I try to block them out when I'm not drinking, and I try to just think of all my blessings and of God and what Jesus would want me to do, but I really I need to, I need to kind of deal with what's been going on in the past and try to move forward. I've realized that I always talk about things outside of me, but it's really me that controls my drinking,
So, when you mentioned that you were touched by Jesus, and that's something that's been positive in your life. Mm-hmm. How long has it been for you? Can you tell me more about that and how that's been helpful?
So I met these guys in the park. They were handing out lunches, and they brought me to their church. It's like a Holy Rollers church, and they laid their hands on me, and I swear to God, the next day I could walk. I didn't feel any pain. I didn't even want any alcohol. But then, I started wanting alcohol a couple weeks later. And I did have that slip up when I got mad at someone at the shelter. But I've been able to really just focus on going to church on Sundays. And they've even gotten to the point where they brought a truck one time and loaded my motorized wheelchair into it and brought it to church because the shelter wouldn't let me leave it there.
Yeah.
So, like, they go out of their way to make sure I can get to church, which is really nice.
It's a good support network there for you. So, also then, what about, can you tell me a little bit more about your past? You were talking about how you have some things in your past that seem to be, what about that?
So I'm really ashamed of it, and I'm trying to, my chemical dependency person in me, I've been really trying to, work past my shame. But I was in the army in Germany in 1970s and 1978, and a guy came in and he was driving a car and he was ordered to stop, and he didn't stop, and so they ordered my group to open fire on him. And when they did the autopsy and investigation, they found out it was my bullet, that killed him. And so I killed a man, and I just had a really hard time with that. I started drinking again. I came out and I ended up going down a rank while I was in the military, and then I didn't get a dishonorable discharge, but I was close, so I actually left the military lower than what I started, a couple ranks lower than what I started because of my drinking, and then came back to the States. They wouldn't let me re-enlist.
Okay, and you wanted to?
Yeah, I did. It was good money, I never had money growing up, so it was nice having it for a change, and I did really well with the structure of what the military was.
What about the structure did you like?
Just the schedule. I didn't have to worry about anything. They made my food for me. I knew where I was sleeping every night. It was kind of fun and calm at the same time. And I loved being in Germany. That was fun.
So you got to travel.
Yeah, that was nice. It's the first time I'd ever been out of the country.
So, it sounds like, you've been kind of managing your drinking right now, which is good, but you've also, during that period of time, you're working with your city councilor, and you've recognized through that, maybe through the process working with them, that your drinking is more manageable because you're recognizing that you're more suicidal when you're drinking, but that's concerning you because now you're seeing that and you're wondering, sounds like you're wondering, what happens if I drink? And that's scary, because it sounds to me like that's not what you want. It sounds like you have some other things that are important to you that are going well, and that you also, does that
I just want life to be like it
right
was years ago.
Okay.
Like, once I got out of the military, I was pretty calm. I managed to pull it together. I met a woman. We got married. We're married for like 14 years. It was great. I made really good money in some of the jobs I had then, working as a factory foreman and stuff. But then I came home one day and I found her in bed with my friend. And then, she emptied my bank accounts, and I left. And I couldn't get a loan from my boss at the time. He refused to give me any money, so I lost my apartment, and I just said, fuck it, and I started drinking again. And so this time, I kind of went through a lot of stuff then. I was on the streets for like 5 years before I moved into the housing with this agency. Actually, I was housed by you guys for like 10 years. And then I kind of fucked it up, and I came back just because I needed to work through some of that stuff. I finally realized it's not where I am, it's something I need to control from the inside. And it took me a long time to realize that. But I just wish life was like it was 15 years ago. And I don't know that it ever will be, but I know Jesus wouldn't like me killing myself, so I'm just not I'm gonna try not to do that anymore and just try to work on it and fix things.
So do you have times where you feel like you see maybe some glimpses of life being similar to how it was before? Are there similarities, or do you feel like everything's completely different now?
Not in the shelter, that's for sure. And I might have had moments when I was in treatment with the VA. They sent me down to Oregon, and I was there for a 6 month treatment, but I quit after 3 months. Well, I left the compound and I went and got drunk, and then I just headed back up here, and I guess I fucked that up too. But I have, like, when I'm doing stuff that I love, like fishing and being out in the wilderness, I enjoy that. I feel like that feels good. It's never gonna be the same though, and I just don't feel like it's the same as it was back then, because I'm not earning the money I was, and I'm not like living the life, and I don't have my wife. I don't want my wife anymore. She cheated on me, but I don't have what I had then.
So, tell me a little bit about what it's like for you being in the shelter. It sounds like, it's...
It's okay. They drink a lot up there, and they do a lot of drugs, and I just tell them how much Jesus loves them. And I really, I go to my groups, and I talk to them, and I really...
So sorry.
I really do. I really do. I go to my groups, and I tell them that, God can lay his hands on them, and that they're not going to quit drinking until they quit drinking.
So sorry. Sorry, don't do this.
I know.
Okay.
So yeah, but, I have a hard time sleeping. So when I'm up there, some people yell all night and just fucking drive me crazy. And then sometimes they steal my stuff. They broke my glasses. I got them replaced, but they broke them. It's just been really hard, I think. And then sometimes at night I have nightmares, and it's just not comfortable with the bed bugs. So I sometimes, there's like this area that I can bring my chair out to, the bowling alley, and I can sit there and I kind of doze off in my chair. And because of the military, I have a history of getting up really early, so I'm up by like 4 or 5 and out and about, and I try not to stay in that part of town very long, just because I get bored, and I know my old case manager used to tell me boredom's what got me in trouble.
Yeah. So, do you have do you have a family history of suicide or any other mental health?
My mom was a drinker. I don't know about my dad because he left when I was a kid. And, I think he had some legal issues, but she was a drinker, and she really wasn't. I won't speak ill of the dead, but she definitely had her issues, and she ended up drinking herself to death, basically. But yeah, she may have had something. And I have a younger sister, but I don't talk to her. She had a drinking problem, and she has a baby now. She's like 20 years younger than me. And she doesn't want to see me while I have my drinking problems because of the new baby and her own history, So.
And so your younger sister did have a drinking problem, but doesn't anymore?
No, she's been clean from what I understand. I got in contact with her right before I started drinking so heavily. And she was pregnant at that time, and I was so happy for her, but I understand why she doesn't want to be around me when I'm drinking.
And what is your how do you identify, like, your ethnicity?
I'm white. I think I might have had some, like, Indian back, like, 7, 6, 8 generations ago, but I don't anymore.
Okay.
I don't know what it was.
Okay.
So yeah, I was born white trash in Auburn, Washington.
Okay, so so you identify with just that's kind of how your peeps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And would you say that you have much of a support network through any of the people that you?
I realized after I fucked up so bad in Kent that I couldn't move. So I used to live right next door at the Morrison. That's where I lived for 10 years. And then I decided there was too much drug activity, and I asked them to move me to another building because I couldn't get sober there. So they moved me to Clean and Sober building over in South Lake Union, Kerner Scott. But when I got over there, I kept drinking, and then I went to that treatment facility. And after moving around so much and then moving to Kent, which thought would be better, I realized that it's not where I am at and who I'm surrounded with, it's me. And the other thing I realized is when I was down in Kent, it was over an hour to get back to this office. and I really just value who I work with here at this agency.
Okay.
So my case managers, I need to be closer to my case managers, my chemical dependency professionals, my employment specialists, the peers, like all those people, I need to be closer to them. So I know that I'm on the list for the Morrison again. I want to move back in there.
Okay. And so you're.
But my mom's dead. Sorry, I forgot.
Oh, okay.
My mom's dead. My dad's dead. I really don't have many friends or other family in this area. All my cousins down in Kent, I saw some of them while I was down there drinking, and they were in and out of the jail because they are addicted to like meth and crack and shit like that.
And have you only used alcohol? Do you use other substances, or have you?
So, like, yeah, every now and then, if crack's around, I'd use it, but I really just prefer alcohol. I really don't. I haven't done crack in a couple years now. It was before when I lived at the Morrison, it'd get really bad, and then someone would offer it, and I'd say, okay. I don't want to do that again.
Did you ever have to go through drug treatment?
Not for crack.
Okay.
For alcohol, lots of times.
Well, yes. Okay. Okay. So, did you have you ever received? Have you received any other mental health or diagnosis? I mean, have you ever been diagnosed as having depression or?
So when I came here before, I was diagnosed with depression and PTSD, alcohol dependence. And most of my time when I've been received services, it's been with this agency. I've been with this agency other than this last year for the last 10, 14 years, seeing mental health people here. So, not really otherwise other than the hospitals.
Okay. So what? One other thing that you've mentioned is not having income. And do you have a history of employment other than when you were in the services?
So I get SSDI now. I think it's like $1,200. I don't know. I just got it sent back to you guys to be my payee, so I don't drink myself silly.
Okay.
But I worked in animal control for a while. That was hard because I helped catch animals that they had to put to sleep. But as the foreman for that one factory for a few years, I worked my way up there. I was really proud of that. And I made $50,000, $60,000 there a year, which is the most money I'd ever seen. But then when I lost that job, I really haven't gotten anything since then other than the SSDI.
Okay, so and then so you do have some income, but it helps you to have it managed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't have any money on me. I just, I get a couple dollars on me and I'll figure out a way to drink with it. I'll drink whiskey and sometimes beer.
And when you're drinking, or when you decide that it's that you'd like to drink, do you notice a difference between what you're thinking and feeling at that time?
I don't even remember.
You don't remember?
I black out, I think, most of the time.
Okay.
I had my case manager tell me that I'm pretty abrasive and I'm actually not allowed to come in this office when I'm drinking because, I hurt the people that support me, and I don't even know that I hurt them, but I can be really mean when I'm drinking, and I don't want to be that way with the staff here. They don't deserve it. They work real hard. So, other than the suicidal stuff, I don't really remember anything beyond that. Oh, I sell my TVs a lot.
Okay.
I sold 5 one year. Flat screens too, they were really nice.
Was that for money?
Yeah, I sell them for $5. And then I get really upset the next day because I don't have my TV because I like watching TV. So, I think the Morrison's going to make me bolt it to the wall if I do it again.
Okay. So, you don't really have, that you're aware of, family history of mental illness other than substance abuse, drinking, it sounds like primarily. When you do drink and you're suicidal, and you've gone to the hospital, who comes to see you?
My case manager.
Your case manager?
She's the only one who ever saw me before.
Yeah.
No one else.
Okay.
No.
And when they come to see you, how do you feel about, how's your relationship with your case manager?
I feel good.
Yeah.
My case manager, the one I had before, just was really awesome. Came up here a lot.
Okay.
Or came to see me when I was in the hospital and made sure that I knew that she knew I was there and was supporting me.
Okay. So, when, it really sounds like you definitely want to continue working towards your sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you've already been working very hard with that. What I would like to know though is, are you happy with working with your CDC counselor you're with now? Does that seem to be helpful?
Yeah.
Or are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, he works with this agency, so I like having all my stuff in one spot, and he runs groups in this building, so that's really nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like that's still a good relationship, and that's working well for you.
Yeah, I had a real bad one previously, but this one's really
Seems
good.
like it's
a
good match. Okay.
He's able to say things in a way that really clicks with me, I think. But I think that previously I just wasn't ready for it to click, so it's good that it's doing that now.
And what do you think changed for you? I know you said that you were touched by Jesus, and that seemed to be very healing for you.
Yeah.
Do you identify anything else other than, you've got your support network through DESC and...
to a point, maybe I just hit rock bottom, or I was afraid. I'm not young like I used to be. I got that heart issue, and sometimes I have bleeding issues, and my stomach hurts sometimes, and I'm just not. And in this wheelchair, I've been mugged, and assaulted a lot of times. So I can't be on the street like I used to be.
So part of it's security too, knowing whether you're safe. So in your heart issue, are you taking medications for that?
I just got connected back with my primary care physician. They give me nitroglycerin in case I have chest pain. I hadn't seen him for a year before that. He thought I was dead. So I've been seeing him more regularly, and he's got me on that. He said he won't put me on my blood thinners until I stop drinking, because when I drink, it messes up whatever is wrong with my blood.
Okay. And did you do you have so your legs? No, you said they've been doing better. But there was definitely a time where wheelchair is necessary.
Well, it's actually my back. I have pretty severe arthritis in my lower back from kind of the hard work I used to do.
Okay.
So my back, but it shoots pains down my legs. So the VA actually gave me the wheelchair.
Okay.
Because they said I needed it.
But you don't feel like you do anymore?
No, I do. I just wish I could. The shelter doesn't let me leave it up there. So I wish I could go walking every now and then. Right now, when I walk at all, it hurts a lot. But for a while there, I was walking pretty good without it. But I think when I get my apartment and can kind of leave it there at my own, as I want to, that'll be better.
Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So, well, I feel like you have definitely, you've expressed a lot about your desire to continue with your sobriety, and we've kind of gone over that a little bit. And I'm wondering if you have addressed your post-traumatic stress much.
No.
Have you been able to? You mentioned that was something you were diagnosed with, but
it's something I block out a lot. I need to work on it. I had a chance to see a therapist previously, but I blew her off her appointments. And I talked to my case manager before, and we talked about that being something I really need to focus on. Because the truth is, some stuff happened with my mom too that shouldn't have, and I haven't been open about that, and I need to just kind of be open and talk to someone more about it. I don't know if I'm ready right now, just because I am at the shelter. But I think once I get housing, that's kind of where I want to start focusing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long before you receive your housing with Morrison?
Hopefully in the next month is what I heard. Not very long. So hopefully soon.
Yeah. And but you don't think even I mean, would you say that you maybe could begin having a conversation with somebody and just kind of see where that goes before moving, or you really feel like waiting is?
I feel like I want to wait, especially because I recently started talking to the United Way Veterans Program and I want to volunteer with them. So I'm really trying to move forward on that front.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what I'll do for them yet, but I wanna do stuff for other veterans who've had problems like me.
Okay.
So, but I do want to start talking about it, just like not yet.
Mm-hmm.
I need kind of a little bit of time. So.
But you do agree that addressing that would be a good.
Yeah, I definitely need to address it. You know, I never have, and I've never talked about the mom thing before, and I think that, yeah, I should probably start working on that.
And is you know, it's definitely your comfort level, but if there's something that you needed to talk about today in regards to that, or if you wanted to, if you had anything else you wanted to discuss about that.
Yeah, I mean, not really. She, you know, it was sexual, but yeah, I don't want to talk about it right now, I think. So. But I will definitely want to once I'm housed.
And do you feel like that, without even having to go further into that, would you feel like there's a connection between some of that in addition to your post-traumatic stress from your service time, that, you know, your event you had with the one soldier?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I know I started drinking young with her, actually. But I think that's what I want to look at. I hadn't even thought about it before, that it could be connected, but I think that it's something to start talking about, you know. So.
How old were you when you first started drinking with your mom?
15.
Okay.
Maybe 13. I was young. I quit when I joined the military until the shooting, and then I quit again when I married, was sober for 15 years, and then the divorce. And then pretty heavily drinking for the last couple of decades, or 15 years or something.
Okay. And then sober for the last month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what were you, you know, just after kind of going over some of this information today, you know, moving forward, I know you want to wait until you have your housing to kind of go more in depth information with your post-traumatic stress, but would you say that, you know, the substance abuse or your post-traumatic stress would be your biggest challenge right now, trying to
Definitely the substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think I can do anything else. When I'm drinking, I can't talk about anything. I don't remember anything when I'm drinking, so I think it's definitely substance abuse, and then my mental health stuff after that.
Okay. I think that, you know, you're definitely, you know, you've come to a point where you're really able to talk about it, which is probably feels good for you to be able to be there, and you're working hard on your sobriety, and it sounds like, you know, you have a good support network here at DESC, and that, you know, you're getting out into the community. You know, you said that when you can get outside, it's kind of nice. You know, and you'll be able to have that opportunity more. It sounds like when you move to the Morrison, and it sounds like that's a very positive thing for you to be looking forward to. But it also sounds like you do have a fear of the suicidality and your potential. You know, you're at risk for that, and that's a reality, and you're aware of that. And so, I think, you know, it would be useful for you to continue seeking therapy, and, you know, we do have resources for that. And but would you would you agree that, working both on your substance abuse and your post-traumatic stress moving forward is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have other information that you'd like to share that?
No, I think that's pretty much me in a nutshell right now. I mean, more will probably come out as we go forward, but that's me right now.
Okay.
So.
Well, thank you for sharing with me.
Thank you.
And I definitely will, be here to kind of help maybe transition you through and as you go through your housing. And I would like to, it's good for you to know that, first of all, this is confidential information. But, if there's a reason for myself to believe that you are at risk of harming yourself, that I definitely need to make sure that I speak with your CB counselor about that, and just make sure that other people in your network of resources are aware of that, because I'm a mandatory reporter, and so it's important for me to make sure that I make sure you're safe and that other people are aware that need to know. And that you don't currently have a plan. It sounds like your plan is sobriety right now. It didn't sound like you're at immediate risk for that right now, but do you agree with that?
Yeah,
you feeling
no, I'm
that
doing
it
fine
sounds
right
like
now.
when you're drinking, it's really worse for you. So.
Yeah. I mean, every now and then, sometimes now, I think about suicide, but it's not like I would ever act on it. It's that little voice in the back of my head, but then I've got too much to look forward to right now, so it's not something I'm really actively thinking about right now. So.
Okay. And we'll continue, discussing that too as we move forward.
Okay.
But I think it's good for you to be aware that any of your mental health providers are going to need to communicate with each other about that if that does become more of a prominent issue as you're moving forward. And one other thing I before we close up here, I forgot to ask you about is legal involvement. Do you currently have?
I have misdemeanors, trespassing, drinking, open beverage kind of stuff, but nothing major.
All linked to your.
Yeah, it's
drinking.
all homeless, drinking stuff. So nothing going on right now.
Okay. So you don't have like warrants or anything like that you need to take care of?
No, I had one for not showing up at court in Kent when I was drinking outside, but I took care of it.
Okay. Because those can have effect on your housing too, and we want to make sure that if you have anything, we don't want to have any of that get in the way of your housing, because it sounds like that's definitely one of your maybe lights at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, definitely.
Looking forward to that for sure. Okay. All right. Well, I think that we should plan to just meet again, if that sounds good to you. Would you say 1 to 2 times a week?
Yeah, probably 2 times because you'll be handling money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll work for me 2 times a week.
All right.
Okay. So just see you in a couple days then?
Yeah, let's let you just come back on Friday.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Yes. So there's close up in my face. I'm like, I didn't know if I'm working this way. So hi Larry, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Yeah? I don't think we met before. I'm Jan Rose. I'm the intake specialist here. And basically what I'm going to try to do is kind of get as much background information as I can so we can figure out kind of who our best staff members are to work with you and kind of move forward in whatever your goals may be.
Okay.
So you'll meet with me maybe once or twice, and then we'll transfer you to your permanent case manager at that point, okay?
Okay. And that's like if I'm going to stay here?
Yeah, if you choose to. And we have options because we do have people kind of all over town too. So if maybe this area is a bad area for you, we can recommend another place. Or, if you choose at the end to not even continue with enrolling in our program, that's fine too.
Okay.
Okay, it's completely balls in your court at this point. Okay.
Okay.
So do you want to tell me why you're here today?
Yeah, I've always had kind of a hard time with staying in a place for a while. Like, I don't really like to do that. So, but I've had some health issues, and, I'm getting older, and I've kind of been thinking, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea. But now that, you know, all the stuff that I've done, I can't work anymore. And so I don't know, like, I've probably kind of burned all the bridges that I could have for, places that I could have stayed. So I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe I want a place I can stay longer.
Mm-hmm.
I probably feel like I could do that. I think I could do that.
Yeah. But it sounds like maybe you're not sure.
Yeah, not always. I mean, I really don't like having to. I kind of have a hard time sometimes with the rules and having to. I just like to move around because it gets too hard to be in one place.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I'm 57.
Okay. So how long have you been homeless?
Oh, probably about, let's see, probably about 30 years.
Okay.
About, I've kind of been moving around a lot since then.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, in the military for a while, and then when I got out, I kind of, I was in there a long time, and a lot of bad things happened, and so then I just kind of decided I needed to be on my own and kind of figure things out that way, but that didn't work out so well. So
How long were you in the military?
So it was about 9 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
What branch?
I was in the Army.
Okay. Were you stationed in the States or were you stationed in other countries?
Yeah, let's see. I moved around a lot. I mean, I had to go, I went on a couple of different missions where I was out, and I can't really tell you a lot about it because I had a head injury, so I don't always remember everything.
Okay.
And so, but I remember enough, I remember good times and bad times from it.
Mm-hmm. So you said you're here for housing. Is there anything else that you're here for?
I sometimes have a hard time staying on my, on my benefits, just because I have a hard time keeping track of what it is I have to do, and same with when I do have my SSDI, because I am on SSDI, but sometimes I lose track of my money, and I tend to give my money away, and or drink it. So I need to. I think at this point, again, I've had some really serious health issues, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do because my family can't take care of me, and I'm getting older, and I'm kind of beginning to worry now that I just don't know how. I do want to survive, but I just don't know how I'll do it.
Okay. Do you know what you get your SSDI for?
Well, so I have, like I said, the head injury. And then I recently had throat cancer.
Okay.
And basically, I've been told, like, I'm not going to be able to work because of my health issues. So mostly, I think because of the head injury, but.
Okay. You mentioned family. Do you have a lot of family in the area?
Yeah, I've got a lot of family in places that I go to, but, I think I've just burned a lot of my bridges with them, and so I think that it's just, I don't blame them, but they've done a lot for me over the years, but I can't stay with them, and, they'll do stuff for me. They send me money from time to time, or cards for groceries, but, they can only do so much, and I guess I'm finally figuring out that I need to do something. Yeah, I need to do something for myself. And I used to not really care, I guess, about where I stayed, but now I'm kind of thinking I might need a place to stay longer.
Okay. And when you talked about your TBI, how does that affect you on kind of a daily basis? You mentioned some memory problems.
Yeah, I just I have a hard time remembering like what day it is, and um, sometimes even what time it is during the day, or I'll go to bed at the wrong time. It gets confusing, and it's always especially confusing because I don't stay in one place very long. So then that kind of makes it hard to remember, and um, I can't always remember numbers, and so I have a hard time with my money with that, and um, I'll forget, if I've sometimes like how long it's been since I showered or how long since I changed my clothes, and sometimes I don't know if it's because I'm drunk and I don't remember, or if it's because my head injury. I don't know because I drink a lot, so I don't know how it's going to work out with this program, but.
Well, this agency doesn't judge people for any of their addiction, or we specialize in mental health issues too, so any mental health issues as well. We don't discriminate against anything at this agency.
Okay.
So you would never be denied service at this agency, regardless of kind of any behavior at this point, unless you were to threaten a staff member is pretty much the only case, and even then, we would just kind of assist you in working through a different office, probably.
Okay, that's good news because I've gone to so many different places and I get kicked out and I can't stay, and I just know that I'm not going to be sober. I just know I'm not right now. This is not something I'm doing.
Is that even a goal right now for you? Or?
I think I don't know. I kind of think I know I drink a lot, so maybe that's something I could think about doing, but I think more. I just know that maybe just being in a house right now and having a place to stay would be good now. I move around so much, and I think I just get too confused anymore. I think I get more and more confused the older I get. So I think I need to. I don't know about not drinking yet.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that we would never force that choice on you. We do have a chemical dependency program here, but people aren't required to be members in it or participate if they don't want to.
Okay.
So that would be totally in your own court. So you mentioned having issues remembering time and numbers and stuff. What do you do to help yourself? Do you know?
I just, I kind of depend on daylight, or if I'm in a place for a few weeks, I kind of pay attention to what other people are doing, use them as a guide to try to remember the time of day or whatever. But the hard thing is when I lose my money. That's really hard because I can't remember. Did I put it somewhere? Did I give it to someone? I tend to give it away, and I don't remember doing that. And or maybe it's just because I drink it. I don't know, but it is hard to. There's I only have so many tricks to help remind me what's going on. So then I think sometimes I just drink more because then it helps me not worry about it.
So do you manage your own money then?
Yeah. Well, most of the time I have. Yeah. I've had a couple times where I had a payee, but that didn't work out very well. So I just keep doing it on my own.
What happens when you have a payee?
It just they wouldn't give me as much as I wanted or as much as I thought I needed, and I just felt again like I just like living in the house. I don't like that. I want some control over my life still, and I just don't have a lot of control. So it makes it really hard to. Thirsty. Makes it kind of hard to, want to have that when I don't have a lot of control anyway. So.
Okay. So we do have a pay-ship program here that if you ever got to the point that you thought that you wanted that would also be an option for you. But again, no pressure. It's kind of based on your own needs and desires. Okay. So let's go back to, I had mentioned that we specialize in mental health issues here. I was just wondering if you've ever been diagnosed with a mental health issue, other than the traumatic brain injury.
No, other than that, I mean, I have tried some chemical dependency counseling before, um, but I think I just was never ready to quit, so I didn't really stay there very long to know. And I don't think they, other than they decided, I have, so, I abuse substances. They don't tell me. Nobody's ever said, you have this.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really. I mean, I know that I have a hard time focusing and remembering, and I know I drink a lot. So, but no, nobody's ever told me I really have any kind of a mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had a hard time learning when I was a kid. I was kind of slow sometimes, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But then I got my head injury, so I don't know if we would even know.
Mm-hmm.
So
now you mentioned having been in the military. Do you ever? I know a lot of people who've served in the military have nightmares and can sometimes experience some pretty negative emotions about the time they served.
yeah,
Do you ever
all the
experience
time.
like that? Yeah.
That's something I don't ever forget.
Mm-hmm.
I forget some of the times that I was there, but I always remember when I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
I have dreams, and I have people tell me when I do sleep in shelters or something. I have people tell me, that I shout a lot in my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
excuse me. How about your sleep patterns? Do you tend to sleep pretty regularly, other than having a time schedule issue?
no, because because I'm confused a lot. If I wake up and I'm not sure how long I've been sleeping, then I don't know why, but I worry about going back to sleep and then not being able to get up, or, I'll miss something, and, I don't work or anything, so it's not important that I'm up, but, I just kind of feel like I don't want to sleep all the time.
Yeah.
So, and then I just feel anxious because I'm awake,
Mm-hmm.
or awake, and then I don't know how long I've been asleep. So,
Yeah. Have you ever been hospitalized before for mental health issues?
no, just I've overdosed on. I don't do any hardcore drugs anymore. Mostly just drink, but there was a time where I kind of messed around a little bit with some the meth, and
Mm-hmm.
I ended up in the hospital a couple times with that, and that was pretty bad. And then I didn't never like that, and I know drinking works for me, so
Mm-hmm.
um, that was the only time.
Um, do you have any other family history of drinking or any drug dependency?
Oh yeah, so my dad and my mom both drank a lot. They were heavy drinkers. Um, my dad died, just a couple of years ago. And my mom died just a few years before that.
Mm-hmm.
And they both drank a lot. My sister, she's my half sister, and I have a twin brother. And he's not quite as bad. I mean, he drinks, but not definitely nothing like I do. And my sister is, she's really got a head on her shoulders. She's a strong woman, but she's had some problems herself with drinking. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely people in my family drink.
When did you start drinking?
Oh, I mean, I used to take sips off my Papa's beer. Like, I was just a wee kid, like 10 years old were my first drinks.
Okay. So when you think about housing, what is it about housing that you want other than the safety around health concerns? Is there maybe a particular type of housing you'd be looking for? There are situations where you might share a room. There are situations where you wouldn't share a room.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to disturb anybody because I know I don't sleep well. But I also think that, having a roommate not be bad, because I do have a hard time, maybe if it's somebody, it depends on who it is, I guess, because if it's somebody who can kind of help me with my time problems, that might be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, or maybe it's better if I'm on my own, so I can learn to kind of live on my own, but be in a place for a longer period of time. But I don't know. I mean, if there's things that I have to do or whatever for this to be able to be here, I just don't know that I'll be able to do that because I don't know if I'll be able to manage my time.
I think that's fair. I know that often the case managers here are very liberal on how they meet with clients because a lot of clients have memory issues. And so we tend to have more of an open door policy than a lot of other agencies would. In terms of your work history, you said you worked in the military for 9 years. What else have you done?
I worked in restaurants. I used to make pizzas. I'm a really good cook. I can make food really well, but I started showing it. Like I said, as I got older, you know, my memory's gotten worse and I drink more, so it's harder for me to get to work on time and, you know, to show up places. But yeah, I'm a really good cook.
Awesome. So even though you're on Social Security, sometimes there's opportunities to work while you're on Social Security. Is that something you'd ever be interested in, do you think? If there was a flexible schedule and the ability to maybe earn even a little bit more than what you're doing already?
Yeah, I like working. I mean, I like to be around people. I'm social. But, you know, again, I worry about my being able to be there on time and stuff, so that gives me a lot of anxiety. But I mean, I'd want to do it.
Do you have, outside of your family who seem to be kind of somewhat absent at this point, which you've acknowledged reasons why, do you have any other support network outside of family?
Yeah, I mean, I got some friends here and there. You know, I've got people, you know, like, I move around a lot. I go from here to my home in Nevada a lot to go see my brother, and so all people, you know, just, I mean, I think they're my friends. You know, I can always go crash on their couch when I'm in Seattle or, you know, same in Nevada. I can do the same there, pop a tent up in their yard or something. They'll let me do that, but I'll, you know, I can count on these people, but I don't know. I mean, I couldn't stay there forever. So that's the hard part. It's the same as with my family. You know, I can count on them, but I can't stay there. So.
How do you know these friends? Like, how have you met them over the years?
Well, I play music and do gigs off and on. So, you know, I don't think I'm as good as I used to be, but, so I've played in some gigs and done stuff like that, and so then I kind of pick up some friends at the bars, and, you know, usually they're from the bars. I like to drink with my friends, so.
About how often do you play music nowadays?
It just depends on where we can get gigs at, so I'd say probably, you know, once every couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I like it. You know, it's a lot of fun to jam with some people and sing, and, you know, I don't sing as much as I used to, but I like to play guitar.
That's awesome. Kind of switching gears in a large way, can you tell me if you have any legal involvement?
No.
No legal involvement?
No.
No warrants?
I mean, not now. I mean, in the past I've had some disturbing the peace, and, you know, I've gotten kind of loud and stuff like that when I've been drinking, but maybe assaulted somebody once, but no.
This is kind of some just basic demographic questions that we ask everyone. What race, ethnicity do you identify as?
White.
White.
Yeah.
What gender? And I ask that because even though sometimes I can see what's in front of me, sometimes people identify differently than I would think.
Yeah, male.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sexual orientation?
I'm a homosexual.
Okay. Do you have any significant others right now?
No, I haven't for a long time.
Okay. Is that because you move around so often?
Yeah.
Or are you
and I just not
looking kind of at
looking
this point
right now.
Okay.
I just, you know, my health issues have been so bad, and, you know, I just need to focus on that. So.
Is there anything else that I should know to kind of help you and guide forward in working with you?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think coming here, you know, I definitely wanted to consider having a place to stay. I really think that that's going to be at least a good starting point for me.
Mhm.
Sounds like your agency has a lot of really good other options for me if I want to do some other stuff. But it is nice to know that I don't have to worry about that other stuff yet, and I can just, kind of right now I feel like maybe having a place would be good. But so I don't know if that's something you guys can hook me up with.
Yeah, and so what would happen is that I would kind of get all of this to the case manager who's going to work with you, and then they start lining up housing opportunities and finding what places might suit your needs best, not just what's available first.
Okay.
So they're going to kind of go over what's available with you so that you can make your own decision and no one decides it for you. And then as you kind of go through the process, you'd get offered placements, and if you choose to turn them down, it doesn't alter your chances of getting another offer later. You have complete flexibility on that. So that's definitely, it's a little bit of a process, but there's kind of guides to guide you along that process.
Okay.
And even if you, let's say, you left town for a little while or whatever, if you came back, you'd be more than welcome to work with them again. The work just kind of continues where it left off.
Okay.
So that's not something that you'd be punished because you left,
Okay. Sounds
So-
fair enough. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Do you have any religious, spiritual background?
I was raised, my parents they called themselves Christians, and,
Mm-hmm.
I went to church when I was a kid, but not really. I believe in God, and I have faith in that, and I do pray, but so yeah, I'd say that I'd be considered a Christian.
Okay. So that's kind of everything that I wanted to ask today. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I think that's pretty good.
Okay. So could you meet with me maybe next Wednesday between like 3 and 5?
Okay.
For you?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you do some, is a reminder somehow, or, okay?
Yeah, so I can give calls, I can do emails, I can do kind of whatever is easiest for you.
Okay, probably good if you call me, and I'll have to just kind of figure out where I'm going to be at around that time, and then
Okay.
that way you can call me where I'm going to be.
And probably just because you've told me kind of about your memory issues, I'll call you the day before and then the morning of as well.
Okay.
Just to touch base with you again and see if the schedule still works.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay. Well, It was a pleasure meeting you, Larry, okay?
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Kendra, I'm sorry it's really dark.